here is our, if you can believe, our Amiga 600, which has an interesting problem. So this was kind of working, but it kept powering off. And I wasn't sure why. It kind of, you touch it, it'd power off. Anyway, I suspected the floppy drive, the chips, everything the usual. So took out all the chips, cleaned the ports, pushed everything back in firmly. Inspected the caps. I haven't recapped the machine though, so that was probably one of my worries, to have to do a full recap. Fully serviced the floppy drive, cleaned it, checked all the connections, everything looked good. And I was kind of stripping the machine back and put it back together, and it was working. And I even got the floppy drive to work, built it into Xcopy and made a floppy, read it back, it was all good. And then, this is what happened. Let's turn it on. And I hadn't connected the keyboard. So it's booting away. Nice and happy. So then I plugged in the keyboard, powered it up again, and it wouldn't boot. And I'll show you how it wouldn't boot. Let me connect the keyboard. I'm going to put it down here onto the connector, which is keyed so you can't make a mistake. Watch what happens. It reset. It reset again. So sometimes it resets, and it's not a good idea to plug this in live, but sometimes it resets continuously. Sometimes it resets once. So let's see, there's a boot. But I think we have a problem in the keyboard circuitry. Now it's interesting. On the Amiga, you can reset the system by holding down Control, left Amiga key, right Amiga key. And this is actually hardwired into the keyboard design. If you press those keys, it generates a 1 second pulse from this 555 timer chip here. And it sends it back out to this red wire here, which is a reset line to the whole system. And it resets the keyboard controller chip as well. So basically when you press that, it holds the Amiga in reset for 1 whole second and then lets it boot again. So the problem is that something's gone wrong here. I think we've got a bad voltage or bad supply or something. One of these logic chips is bad. It's done it again. It's just reset. So we've got a problem here. Now it could be power. It could be the power supply. It could be you haven't got enough power coming into this, because these logic chips can behave funnily if they're not getting the good power. Or it could be a faulty chip on the system or a faulty wire. But either way, all you have to do is touch this system, a bit of static maybe, and it will reset. Let's let it boot again and see, can I make it? Sometimes it gets stuck permanently going pulse, 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 just resetting, resetting. You see the screen flashing white constantly. So let's see, can we do it? I touch the chips. Oh, it's gone. Let's take a second here just to tell you a bit more about this keyboard circuit. A few circuit diagrams, schematics open here. This diagram on the upper right is the Amiga mainboard, the motherboard side. And this is that connector, the keyboard connector you saw me pushing the cable into. So let's go through the pins, okay? So pin number, I think it says from here, so pin number 6 is ground. That should be attached to all the metal case bits, all the screws, and most chips and most components will have a connection to ground. The middle one is a key. It basically means this pin isn't used. It helps you make sure you put the connector on the right way around. It's just not used. Pin number 5 here, VCC. That's the voltage, the 5-volt voltage reference that most of the board uses, including the whole keyboard circuit. So the Amiga is sending 5 volts to this pin, and through the connector it gets into that secondary keyboard board, and that's how those chips get powered. Down here, status and in use. These are signals that come from the Amiga. These are the signals from the processor, and these go through a little mini amplification stage. they're going into the two LEDs on the keyboard assembly that show you it's powered on and it's in use, like hard disk activity or floppy drive activity. So that's like very like your PC, the lights in the front of your PC. These signals up here, these are coming out of the keyboard. Clock and data, these are a typical SPI style data transfer mechanism. There's a clock pulsing here at the same time it's synchronized with data coming out. So this is where the signals for which key is pressed comes out of the Amiga keyboard to be sent to the CPU to be processed. Or not the CPU, probably the CIA chip, I can't remember. I think it's a CIA chip on the Amiga. Anyway, this is the data coming out. This line here is the reset line. If you hold the control left Amiga, right Amiga buttons, what happens is the keyboard sends a reset signal to the whole computer. So this goes into the processor and or the reset circuitry around the processor and takes every chip on the board. This signal lasts for about 1 second. The line is high voltage. It goes to ground, 0 volts, for a 1 second period. Then it lets it back up. That gives it time to everything to settle and stop, and then a fresh reset. It's like turning off and on the computer. If you look over here, this is the circuitry of the keyboard circuitry, the little small daughter board. This is the keyboard microcontroller. This processes all the keys. This is the actual rows and columns that touch every key, and they all come out into this chip here. And it decides on how to send out the data signal. You see here, clock and data. This is our keyboard connector. That's this one up here. It's just drawn a little differently. 1 and 2, clock and data. They come out of this this chip. So that's how it sends the key to the Amiga when you press it or hold it. It'll send repeated keys and all that kind of jazz. Up here, you'll see a few of the buttons, specifically left LAMI, left Amiga, control, and right Amiga. See the way these are joined? These keys also come out here into a logical NOR gate, which will send a high signal if all the inputs are low. So when you hold down these 3 keys, this signal gets amplified and starts a timer. This is a 555 timer, a classic 60s component, and it's configured through the combination of resistors and capacitors to hold a signal low for 1 second. That signal comes down here and goes through this gate, which is acting as a buffer in this case, and that's the reset signal here that goes to the main Amiga motherboard, to the reset circuitry. So when you hold these down, even if you hold them down for just a second, this chip will generate a 1 second long burst. That's what 555 timers are very useful for doing. It's also can be called debouncing. Even though it's a tiny, really short press here, you're guaranteed to get a 1 second signal. So something's gone wrong with our system. We're getting resets when we just touch the board. So that could be we've got a power problem, either in the cable. The ground signal into the cable is not good. Maybe the wire's broken or the connector, or somewhere in the board the ground's broken. More likely it's one of the other signals because there's so much ground on the board. The whole shell is grounded, everything's grounded. But the voltage, if we lost voltage, it could also happen. So I think we need to do a bit of investigation, have a look around at the board, try a few things and see can we figure out what's going on. Okay, so I've connected my oscilloscope to the reset line coming from the keyboard. It's trying to boot, it's running, but you know, let's just give it a touch, just a little tap here maybe, and a reset again. So it's coming back. So anywhere you tap this, it'll reset. Watch, you can see it on the scope. There you go, down and up. Let's do a trigger. Do a tap. So there you go. Comes down, comes back up, which is the way reset's supposed to work. Not when this is happening. Just let it run. So I found I just need to very slightly Let me just move the wires very slightly. Up. So it's running. Let me touch them again. So I think it's actually the wires, or else there's a crack in the board around here. Let's get it out. So here with the keyboard, I suspect the ground. So the green line is the ground coming from the keyboard connector. So I've got a little pin and a probe attaching to the green line. On the other side here, green is basically ground, so it's the chassis. So another probe going here. Both of these going into the multimeter. Let's turn it on in continuity mode. It should beep. And we're reading open circuit. So let me try and wiggle these wires and see if there's anything change. Oh yeah. We got 55 ohms, which is not connected. Just moving these here. So I think there's a break in the wire here or a break in the circuit board. Okay, hi, so let's have a look at this board, this keyboard board, and see if you can see anything going on. I'm going to use my crappy Amazon, I don't know, €15 microscope. It's kind of shitty. But, no, for the price, yeah, it's still not good. Is it here? Plug it in. You get a light. And you get a kind of a stand. It's really hard to use. It's not great. I'm going to buy myself a proper microscope. But for now, let's give this a shot. Okay. Okay, here we are. Going to look at all the pins. Interesting places. See if we can see anything. Not great quality. Is that a bad pin there? A crack? Like a screwdriver maybe. Push the pin. It doesn't seem to be moving. Okay, no. I think that's okay. Let's keep looking. Across, these are the pins that are logic chips. Hang on. Big holes. The pin's moving. They're all the same. We've got dry joints here. Okay, so these are the joints here, which I think are bad. So I'm going to reflow them. So got my soldering station on, 380 degrees. Let's get some flux. I'm just going to reflow this whole chip. Try and do this with one hand. Okay, she's back together. Still got that wire on. I'll probably take that off because I think it's gone. It's sitting ready to boot, so you can see the light will flicker here if anything happens. Still going. Perfect. Looks like we fixed it. Dry joints. Let's try and do a soft delete. Control left Amiga key, right Amiga key. Press it. Yep. I think this is fixed. Let's put it back together. Okay. It's all back together. Let's turn it on. We got a light. We got a white screen. I'm going to try and load a disk from that, but it should come up with the Amiga loading disk. Excellent. Got Workbench 2.1. It's reading it. It's loading. A few taps. Not resetting. Let's get this mess out of the way. Mouse is working. Workbench is loaded. This is called My Tools. See, let's open that. It does. Floppy. It's the Amiga Workbench install disk. That's opening. Okay, let's try and load a game. Ikari Warriors. Right. Let's do the reset. Oh, pop out Workbench, so it's going to load off this. Let's check the sound. And here we are, a working Amiga 500. Wasn't too complicated to fix, but needed a bit of troubleshooting. Thanks for watching.